I would describe myself as a lost young man in my early 20s when this event took place. I ran away when I was 17 years old to pretty much live a rock star's life up to this point in my life. One night, me and a few buddies went to a sports bar to have some drinks and play pool. As the night progressed, one of my buddies started getting acquainted with an older man and was inviting him back to my house to continue drinking. I had never seen this man, being that I had stopped at this sports bar frequently and was familiar with all the regulars. We get back to my house and this older man was making it obvious that he had a problem with me just by the way he kept saying certain rude comments to me. It was almost as if he was trying his very hardest to provoke me to say something rude back, only I didn't understand why. Little by little, each of my buddies were calling it a night, so I told the man, "Hey, so we're calling it a night," hinting for him to say goodbye and leave, but he told me that he wasn't going anywhere. Eventually, I was the last man standing alone outside, and we get to arguing because at this point, I don't know what his true intentions are, and I just want him to leave. I saw him reaching inside of his pocket to grab something, but when he pulled out his hand, I didn't see any actual weapon when, poof, a cloud of smoke filled the air, when I suddenly realized this man actually blew something unknown into my face and started laughing as he walked off into the night. I had inhaled this debris of some sort when I had gasped in shock, and it burned my eyes, so I had to keep blinking my eyes to be able to see clearly again. I was pretty drunk, so I convinced myself that I made this up. I stayed up for the next 4 hours to sober up enough to drive back to my mom's house to sleep in my old room because I couldn't explain why I felt uneasy and afraid sleeping at my own place all alone. My sister and her husband were living there at the time, so I felt like maybe in some way I would be able to get so good sleep since our bedrooms were right next to each other's. Not even 5 minutes into me falling asleep, my room turned extremely cold and I could feel a heaviness that filled the room. Then a voice in the darkness started to speak to me. My heart was racing out of my chest as the voice was asking me if I was ready to make a deal with the devil. I told the voice, "No, I'm Catholic," hoping that this would be enough to make it go away and leave me alone. It kept insisting that it was here for me and that it could grant me any desire I wished on receiving, but I didn't care. I just wanted it to go away. I have never felt so scared in my entire life. I jumped out of my bed to run out of my bedroom when I almost trampled my sister, who was in that same moment coming out of the bathroom. I asked her to please go into my room and check it out for me. She asked me why. "Isn't Jerry in there? Jerry is our cousin, by the way." I replied and said no. I actually didn't hang out with him at all tonight. She said, "Well, if you weren't talking to Jerry, then who were you talking to?" I just ignored her question and went to sleep on the couch, but I made sure I kept all the lights on. Later on, that day my sister told me that I was being rude and inconsiderate because I was drunk and talking loud in my room, knowing that her husband had to wake up early for work. I told her that I was not talking to our cousin. She said, "Well then, who were you talking to? Because I heard 2 voices speaking, but I couldn't make out what the other voice was saying to you." I knew in that instant moment that once again, I had not imagined any of this in my head and that it all actually happened. I felt myself sinking deeper into the couch as I told her I'm sorry, it won't happen again. I didn't want her to ask me anything else because I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I felt like if I continued to talk about it, it would only intensify this eerie feeling I had already been feeling. I couldn't sleep for a whole week, not much anyway. My grandmother suggested that I see a white witch in town, so I did. This lady had to do a cleansing on me every day for a whole month. She told me that substance that was blown into my face was bone dust. The insane part of all of this is I still don't know who this old man was or who sent him to do spiritual harm to me, but I'm definitely more protective of my energy and don't go out to the same spots anymore. I haven't talked to any of those buddies either, since I'm slightly suspicious that they took a liking to this old man. Moral of the story is, be careful who you may piss off or unknowingly offend, because you never know how far a person is willing to go for revenge. In the small town of Millbrook, the halls of Midvale Middle School buzzed with the typical adolescent energy. However, on a fateful Wednesday, the air held an unspoken tension as Priscilla, a mysterious girl with an affinity for the occult, brought a Ouija board to school. Whispers spread like wildfire when Priscilla gathered a group of 6 curious friends during lunchtime in the quiet sanctuary of the library. The allure of the unknown drew them in, and the group, huddled around the Ouija board, embarked on an unconventional journey. As the planchette glided across the board, the students exchanged nervous glances. The atmosphere grew charged with an inexplicable energy, and the library seemed to echo with an otherworldly presence. Priscilla, with an enigmatic smile, guided the group in their quest to communicate with the spirits. In the midst of their supernatural exploration, the group unwittingly opened a door to forces beyond their understanding. The planchette moved with an eerie determination, spelling out messages that sent shivers down their spines. Unseen hands seemed to guide its path, leaving the group both fascinated and unsettled. Suddenly, a hushed gasp escaped from one of the participants, Jake. His eyes widened, fixated on something unseen, and his breath caught in his throat. Panic seized the group as they realized Jake had stopped breathing. Frantic, they attempted to revive him, but his lifeless body lay inert on the library floor. The librarian, alerted by the commotion, rushed over to find the group in disarray. In a panic, she dialed 911, desperately calling for an ambulance. As the minutes ticked by, the library transformed into a scene of chaos and despair. When the paramedics arrived, their efforts to resuscitate Jake proved futile. The once vibrant student, caught in the mysterious web of the Ouija board's influence, had passed away in the very heart of the library that was supposed to be a sanctuary for learning. News of Jake's sudden and unexplained death sent shockwaves through Midvale Middle School. The Ouija board, now a forbidden relic, was confiscated by the school authorities, and Priscilla disappeared into the shadows, her enigmatic presence leaving a haunting imprint on the school's collective memory. Rumors circulated about the cursed board, and the library, once a place of quiet study, became tinged with an air of unease. The tragic incident served as a somber reminder that dabbling in the supernatural could unleash forces beyond comprehension, leaving a community in mourning and a school forever changed by the specter of a life lost too soon.